Did you know that they made a Dark Confidant that's a bat that has offspring? So you can have Dark Confidant on your Dark Confidant, so that when you Dark Confidant twice. Hello folks, Phil Gallagher aka ThrabenU here for a rare modern video, and we're going to be playing Deadguy Ale in Modern. Call it Orzhov Ale if you want. That's what Rick called it, and honestly, Rick's deck list is really sweet. Here's the card that I alluded to in my little stinger for today's video. Darkstar Augur is something that I have seen before, but not actually played with it, I don't believe. And this is kind of cool. Dark Confidant with evasion that can come with a friend is really neat. And the body means that you're not just dying to some common removal, which is pretty cool. There's going to be a lot of things that you all are going to be familiar with from Legacy here, but the Warden of the Inner Sky was the other card that I wasn't super familiar with. This is a 1/2, but when it has 3 or more counters on it, it has Flying and Vigilance, and you can tap 3 untapped artifacts and or creatures you control to put a +1/+1 counter on this creature. You can only activate this as a sorcery, but there's no once per turn restriction on here. So in the hypothetical world where you have Ocelot Pride, Guide of Souls, and a bunch of cats, and you don't need those tokens to block, or maybe the tokens can't get through in combat, you can start just stacking up a bunch of counters on this creature, or potentially sacrificing them to Carrion Feeder to create another big creature. So this deck has ways to go wide with a lot of creatures, but it also has ways to go tall by creating one large creature. And since you have a bunch of things that come with friends, Marionette Apprentice can be a very good way to bleed opponents out, especially alongside Carrion Feeder to just let you sacrifice everything all at once. We don't have red in this deck, so Ajani is not 100% maximized, but it is still certainly good enough to be a 4 of in this deck. And there is one other land you might not be super familiar with, or 1 in a black, and tapping this, you can exile a creature card from your graveyard to make a spirit token, which, when you have ways of sacrificing those tokens and getting extra value out of those tokens, starts to look pretty good. As far as our sideboard goes here, these are probably all cards that you are familiar with from Legacy, although the Wandering Emperor's time in Legacy, sadly, has come and passed. I don't think I've played with Clarion Conqueror in Modern yet, so I am interested to see how this is going to feel within the context of this format. In Legacy, it has felt like a very good card that is just quite awkward to play because of the whole artifact mana thing, but in the slightly slower Modern format, maybe we don't need to necessarily ramp it out for it to be good. And with that, let's go ahead and hop into the matches here. Folks, if you need some cards, please consider checking out my sponsor, TOAMagic.com, to support me. Promo code ThrabenU will save you 5% on your order. You always get free shipping. And if you're in a hurry because, say, you procrastinated ordering your cards or you changed your list at the last minute, you can pay for very nice expedited shipping if you need it. If you're going to some major event like MagicCon Vegas or MagicCon Atlanta, you can also place your order online and pick it up on site, which is what I usually do. With that being said, let's battle. Okay, I've got a reasonable mix of lands and spells, so I'm going to keep this hand, but I don't know that this hand is going to have the most synergy. I guess I just have 3 different 1-mana creatures here. Not attacking with anybody next turn in all likelihood, so let's just maximize the energy. A couple of Marionette Apprentices mean that as this game goes long, I can absolutely bleed out opponents. Ooh, nice. Now I don't have to take some bonus damage here. All right, let's yield to all of these. Play the other Warden. That might get me lightning bolted. Tune the 3 hours, 30 minutes to finish this league. All right, we are on a timer. I shouldn't be playing this league when that goes off. Otherwise, something went terribly wrong. What is this? It's scry 1 and a +1/+1 counter. I think that is fine. Yeah. Opponent goes to 17 for their steam vents, and then just passes. So I think I would like to play this pre-combat to potentially give me bonus energy. Spell snared. Alright, so I think this is now enough damage that I just attack with these rather than trying to scale somebody up. So we will send in for 4. And now we have already made up the 1 missed damage from Guide of Souls last turn, and any other damage we get from this Warden of the Inner Sky +1/+1 counter is just bonus. So it seems like we were playing against some sort of blue-red control deck. We will surveil. I basically just want to junk land that I see, and I will keep most reasonable spells, I think. So if this does not resolve, I don't get to the bonus body. I can't double spell here anyway. I think I am okay just casting this with Offspring. Counter target spell. Sure. We'll send in for another 4 damage. Opponent goes to 9. This feels like something I saw out of a much older Modern, minus Tune the Narrative. Galvanic Discharge, you've got it. That sort of thing is probably why my opponent is playing Tune the Narrative. Now I can actually multi-spell in a turn. This is going to be Snapcaster Mage into Spell Snare, which is fine. And then I will play Bowboy, hang the Snapcaster, gain my energy. I think I'm just going to take immediate damage here. I'm going to go ahead and say yes to this. I'm going to give this flying. My opponent goes to 5. I have theoretical lethal on board. We'll see if my opponent has some sort of sweeper effect or some way to deal with a bunch of creatures. Ooh. Gonna cryptic command me? Gain control of target non-land permanent. That's a little annoying. Okay, that's happening. I'm just gonna skip combat this turn. And then Offspring a Darksteel Augur, get 2 energy, and then next turn I can attack in with multiple flyers. Hopefully use this Dark Confidant-esque ability to refuel my hand, and then just get over the finish line. Maybe using Bowmasters to ping for the final point of damage or something like that. So as a heads up, the baby bat is a 1/1. Greatness at any cost. Ooh, we found another bat. I didn't really want to find these bonus lands, but that's whatever. I think I wish I could play Darkstar Augur with Offspring while still doing the other Bowmasters. I think I'm going to cast this pre-combat with Offspring to see what happens. Okay. It does resolve. I'll gain a bunch of energy, and then I think I am comfortable firing in and seeing what happens. I am probably dealing some amount of bonus damage here. Let's stack these counters on the Guide of Souls, so the Guide of Souls does not die. Alright, it is a Snapcaster Mage. My opponent can use a Galvanic Discharge here. Take out the Guide of Souls then. I will probably... Ooh, I'm losing a Bowmaster instead. My opponent is going to 1, which is very scary. And now they get to cash in a card draw spell that has been sitting in their hand. I don't think I'm going to deal 22 to myself with bats here. And we get over the finish line. So I didn't really see much of my opponent's deck. I didn't see activated abilities of creatures or planeswalkers or artifacts that I care about. I don't think they're using the graveyard hard enough for me to want a Leyline of the Void. Assuming that the game goes late, this becomes reasonable, I think. Other than stealing my shit, my opponent didn't really put any meaningful permanents into play. So I think I'm just going to do something like this. Call it good. Pride plus Guide of Souls is fine. I have 1 too many lands here for my liking, but I don't think this is a mulligan. Opponent keeps their card. I now have 2 too many lands for my liking, unfortunately. Alright. So, do I want double white card here? Or to play Carrion Feeder? I think I want double white card here. I'm going to play my Warden, gain my life. I think to play around a Lightning Bolt effect, I'm going to attack for 1 here rather than trying to put a counter on this. Deal my 1. How many basics do I have in here? Oh, plenty. Then let's go for the Ocelot Pride. Now, I don't really think this is going to just go through with everything still being alive here. Yep, okay. So we did successfully sneak in the 1 point of damage. But here's the thing. So now at my end step, I make a friend. Oh no, it's activate only as a sorcery. Boo. Alright, opponent's got 3 mana. Snapcaster Galvanic Discharge is online. Carrion Feeder is, I guess, a thing. Yeah. Oh, I can't Carrion Feeder and Bowmasters because I fetch basics. A fool. Alright, then we're just sending in as is with Bowmaster available. Alright, my opponent takes all of it. I'm just going to hold up Bowmasters then. Take my cat. 2 damage to each non-vampire creature. Hate that. I am going to resolve this while my opponent can't, like, spell snare it or whatever. Instant speed sweepers. Going to be rough for my deck, though. Like, it could just happen again. I'll play one of these, I think, and then use the Surveil land with the rest of my mana. Okay. And in for a whopping 1. This is where, like, I would like to draw my Planeswalker. Ooh, yeah, I'll take that. I have 2 Carrion Feeders. Well, yep, that'll do. Oh, I fucked up. I was supposed to sacrifice that to itself so my opponent doesn't gain the energy. I invalidate the target. That's on me. Hopefully that is not relevant later. So there's a new Carrion Feeder. Here's a Marionette Apprentice. This is spell snareable, just full on counterspell. And in for 1. Is there any timeline in which I need 5 mana for something? Literally no. I'm going to hold this last card in hand. Narrative is tuned. And opponent is just playing Draw-Go with me. That's great. I think I like doing this sort of thing pre-combat. It gives me a better idea of whether or not my attack is likely to go through and be successful. Snapcaster counterspells real bad here. Yeah. We will send in for 2. Opponent is at 11. I am out of gas. My opponent doesn't have any big card advantage thing going yet, so that's nice. There's some card advantage. My opponent doesn't control a wizard right now, so they don't have the bonus mode of just nuking one of my creatures as well. But even just that draw 2, I think, pushes my opponent pretty far ahead. I guess I will play this. Sure. Send it in for 2. That's at 9. And is just continuing to play Draw-Go. I think just about everything that I've seen from them has been instant speed nonsense. So, how about this one? Well, they're drawing in response. Hit the counterspell. And in for 2 more. Fable of the Mirror Breaker. That currently walls my stuff. Didn't take much. There's another island as well. I mean, I'll play it in case I spike another relevant card next turn. I could attack in and create 1/3/3. I don't think that is correct. And we've got a blood token at end of turn there. Now my opponent gets to do some Fable looting and potentially just turn lands into relevant spells. Oof. Okay, I mean, just more land is nice. Opponent's going for more cards. I am falling further and further behind. My opponent's spot removal is going to look better and better, and they get more looks at cards that look like this. This is only worth 1 energy. I think I'm going to go ahead. Well, I could have played this slightly differently and made it worth 2 energy. So I am going to attempt this. King face, grow the Orc Army token so that it trades with this, and then pass. We still have another 2/2 to worry about, unfortunately. But maybe we'll draw one of those static prisons or something. That's fine. That doesn't really do anything here. Yeah, so this is just like 2025 Blue Moon. These are mountains. I am not great at attacking here. I could, like, go all in on 1/3/3. I think that's worse than keeping Bowmasters in play. I am very afraid that my opponent ends up having a Snapcaster Mage and then just gets to obliterate me with a full graveyard here. I think I'm going to concede to this. I only have like 2 removal spells in the deck. And there's like multiple Flame of Honors in graveyard. Okay, we've got a shadowy backstreet that is just hanging out on the screen here. So that's great. I had to run and get the door. What is this card? Oh, that's a Guide of Souls. Okay. Cool. Opponent. I literally cannot see my land to click on it appropriately. This has been a known bug for a long time. We got to get this shit fixed. Yeah, this is awful. I am down enough clock from having to run and get the door that I can't really take extra time to reboot right now. So we'll just fucking deal with this. Turns holding. And in with Guide of Souls. 17. Yeah, this is still literally from the last game, by the way. So I will attempt a Carrion feeder that will give me 3 energy if it resolves. And discharge on a Guide of Souls. In which case I can just play a second Carrion feeder to get my 3rd energy, hopefully. Always yield to that. Nope. Here. Found it. Get basic swamp. Click randomly until I find where Carrion feeder is. Or where swamp is. Alright, there's 3rd energy. We waste a mana by... Yes, I fucking know Magic Online. You already told me. Please get Shadowy Backstreet out of the way. Or giving me that alert again that we're going down for maintenance. Thank you kindly. 3rd land drop. I have no energy. That is a reasonable thing to start doing with my turns. And then... So I just sacrifice that. Just confirming. Yep, targeting Guide of Souls. So I will sacrifice the Guide of Souls. Hit my opponent for 3. I'll pass the turn. And then activate Castle to draw a card. Opponent makes Delta as a land drop. Yeah. Ocelot Pride is fine. Augur is actively good. I think here I'm just going to attack first. Send it. Opponent's at 8. I think you're the bait. I play first. And I can't even see my whole ass cards here. Alright, we've got a fetch. It's in play. ETH is somewhere, which is here. Fetch. Means is fine. Pass with Offspring. I only have 3 mana. God damn it. Alright, I'm rebooting. Okay, no, I did have the final land, and it just fully was not clicking. Augur with Offspring. Turns Golding, got it. Okay, that's unfortunate. I've got a lot of power. I have a little bit of bonus card draw here. The Castle Lochtwain is doing great things. Fable is annoying. I will probably sacrifice a creature to Carrion feeder so that I can continue to attack into it successfully. So let's play land, draw a card, just hit another land, unfortunately. Send in with a Carrion feeder. The opponent is trading my bad Carrion feeder for Goblin Shaman token. And then I'm passing the turn here. This is a very scary point in the game because if my opponent is going to stabilize, it probably happens in the next turn cycle or 2. That's more land. And I'll go ahead and surveil land at end of turn. Do not want extra mana at this stage. I just want literally any relevant spell. That'll do nicely. There is, I suppose, some question of when I cast that card. My life total doesn't matter that much. I just take 1 extra to draw the card now and see if this changes my line. Ooh, interesting. Okay. This is pretty good. 5 damage to target creature. That is happening. I think I actually want the +1/+1 counter here because my opponent is about to have a larger thing. The opponent has 1 card. They are at 6. I make a token. This junks a tapped creature, but the +1/+1 counter in first strike is like totally relevant on Ocelot Pride. And all those lands that I drew throughout the game are going to help me go wide here. Alright, we win the match despite some MTGO buggery in the middle. GG's. Today's video is sponsored by Moxfield.com. If you want to see upcoming sets, if you want to understand commander brackets, or if you just want an awesome place to store all, and I mean all, of your deck lists, Moxfield is the place. You can organize all of your decks by folders, and you can even change the views. You like visual, they've got that. You like text, they've got that. Check out my Moxfield Profield if you want to see all, and I mean all, of the decks that I've been cooking up. All right. A bridge. Okay. I am sure to many people it is immediately obvious what deck my opponent is playing. Me? Doesn't play this format? Not so much. But I've got a cat. Saga's fine. Portable hole. And a spell bomb. Sure. I don't know a way to make bonus energy. So, like, I can static prison away Portable hole to get my Ocelot Pride back. But I don't know that that's going to be better than just static prisoning away an Urza Saga Construct token and never needing to think about it again. I think this is white-black. I need black-black a few turns down the line. So let's go cat and Warden, and next turn I can probably Apprentice plus Static Prison. So Saga ticks up. Oh? Kappa Cannoneer. Okay. Well, that's real hard to answer. Can I answer it on 5 mana? I'm thinking about whether or not I need to play Darkstar Augur to hit more land drops. Not the best versus just Spellbomb bounce, though. I think it's what I'm doing anyway. And then we will scry 1. Is particularly good with this. That is not a land drop. Send that to the bottom. And there are timelines where my opponent makes an Urza Saga Construct token. This isn't one of them. And my Static Prison gets taxed. Was going to be the rest of that thought. Oh no. So now even if I answer Kappa Cannoneer, I'm going to have a lot of life to work through. 7 this turn. 8 this turn. Alright. I am at 8. I'm dead to this next turn. I can gain 1 life with Ocelot Pride. Is this a drain? No, this is just life loss. So the out is my opponent does not have an artifact and I can block. I should gain a life with Ocelot Pride here. What else am I doing this turn? Am I scrying? I don't think so. I think I am attacking with everyone and hoping that my opponent does not bounce my Ocelot Pride because this 1 life probably matters a lot. Alright. So now I have to Static Prison the Shadow Spear. So my opponent can't trample. And then I can play an Ocelot Pride to get multiple cats or play Bowmasters to potentially punish draws. I think I'm going to go mana efficient with Bowmasters. Okay, yeah, so opponent is cracking. Did I crack the other one? Nope. Alright. So now I will Bowmasters and ping. And I am dead to any artifact here. Yep, that includes the lands. So now this is 8 unblockable. We got soloed by Kappa Cannoneer in impressive fashion. Like, my board is pretty good. Hey, I'm in. I'm in. What's coming out here? I didn't see any counterspells. Maybe it's Voice of Victory. That subs pretty well for Cathar Commando as far as the curve goes. And then I just don't have enough reps with my deck to know, like, what is the most expendable piece. I need 2 cuts. It might just be a 3-drop for mana purposes, and then, like, shave one of these. I don't know if this can fly. It might be a Static Prison, since I'm just boarding in a whole bunch of other answers to my opponent's stuff. Alright. Opening hand is fine. It doesn't have one of my cool sideboard cards. I don't think a hand with 3 relevant threats and the mana to cast them goes back. For curve purposes, I'm going to go ahead and do this. Let's focus on going wide because we have Warden. Send in for 1. Make a cat. Bridge. More mods crypt. Portable hole. Taking out Ocelot Pride. Cathar Commando answers that. I think I'm just going to play Warden and then flash this in on my opponent's turn. Attack for 3. Yeah. 15. I don't think I'm using the Cathar Commando to junk the portable hole as of right now. Like, this is just 3 power. Might be junking that, though. Emery. Mana in the yard. Opponent can give Emery haste. And does. And we'll get a mana. Sure. Probably correct for me to cast the Cathar Commando with that on the stack, in case there are any counter spells in there. Potentially cost my opponent a life. New Emery. I'm gonna dig in for something better out of the graveyard. Ooh, Whip Flare is good to know about. Yep. Opponent is going for a new Mox Opal. Now I think with this on the stack, I'm gonna cast Cathar Commando. Yeah. But I have 3 for Dispatch. Cool. I really wanted Cathar Commando to be able to kill Urza Saga. C'est la vie. The first thing that I'm gonna do is Surveil Land. That'll be good in some capacity. Play Guide of Souls. And I think Get while the Getting is good. No energy. Next turn, I can assemble Ocelot Pride, Guide of Souls, and like start trying to create something that goes over my opponent's construct tokens that they can make as blockers. Or I can just take out Urza Saga. Or my opponent completely walls the ground. Yes. Oh no. Cannonier's so good. Board 4 is so rough. I can give it haste too. Yeah. Just don't turn the corner fast enough. So my current problem is that Shadow Spear is coming. This will kill me by itself. This will also kill me in a little while. The second Urza Saga construct token is also a problem. So I can Cathar Commando and stop Shadow Spear Trample from coming. I just hope that my opponent doesn't draw. No, they can just sack Tormod's Crypt and replay Tormod's Crypt. They've already got a line for unblockable. This is Ward 5 right now because of the stacking of that ability. So what's the easiest way for me to win? My opponent not realizing that they can sack Tormod's Crypt? Probably. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Count that as 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Let's try to fix my draws here and see if we can find something like Clarion Conqueror. That goes away. I think we're going to go after the Portable Hole, drain my opponent for 1, get Ocelot Pride, gain an energy, do this again. Is that enough? Or do I specifically need to spike a removal spell? Because my opponent has 3 relevant bodies. The Kappa Cannoneer just gets to get through and not be enough. It's good. I don't think it's good enough. I don't pay the life for that. I go to end of turn. I make my cats. I gain my life. And I try to like use this to out life gain Kappa Cannoneer, which is tough because of Shadow Spear. But it's already going to be activated, so Clarion Conqueror shutting it off doesn't matter. I think the trample on a construct token does me in. This is 18 total. I have 18. I guess 19 if I block with Ocelot Pride. Go to 1. Trigger Marionette Apprentice a handful of times. Static Prison? I'm still just dead to Tormod's Crypt. I can't gain any more life. So the out is Static Prison, Shadow Spear, and opponent doesn't play an artifact and doesn't realize that they have something that they can sack here. Oh, fuck. No, it's fine. I'm going to send in with this, turn it into a flyer, and pass the turn. But I am dead on board as long as my opponent sees the line or randomly draws any artifact. Oh, there was a Portable Hole in the graveyard. That'll do. GG's. Alrighty. Opening hand is fine. I can have 3 creatures on turn 2 to start trying to scale up Warden of the Inner Sky. And then I have some stuff in the end game. Well, that makes it more awkward for me to try to scale this up immediately. If I do, Ocelot Pride just gets to get in. Alright. So I think I am just going to make the bodies and play defensively here. Mountain, Discharge, Static Prison. After trying to play around Ocelot Pride, my opponent just had double removal spell. First strike means that I don't get to block here. Alright. So I probably just need to use my mana efficiently this turn. Means I don't get this with Offspring like I otherwise might have wanted. Opponent has more than enough energy to pay for Static Prison for a little while. And by the time that Static Prison goes away, the Warden is not gonna be super relevant anymore in all likelihood. Marsh Flats? Yikes. My opponent's third removal spell, meaning Ocelot Pride gets to get in again and produce another cat token. Yep. Alright. There's Warden. There's Voice of Victory. I'll Shadowy Backstreet. I am not looking for another Warden. I need to fish for something better than that. Like, I know I have a Flage coming in a little while. Arena of Glory plus Flage. Notably pretty good. Oh man, my opponent can junk a bunch of cards into graveyard to make Flage more castable. Flage can come down next turn with something like a fetch land or another card that hits the graveyard. Warden's ability being activatable only as a sorcery is pretty rough here. I am fully on the defensive. I will probably end up Bowmastering Ocelot Pride. I don't think I get to take that action yet, because it would put another card in graveyard. I guess opponent could just sacrifice Static Prison to put that last card in graveyard. And they do. Oh, that's Flage. Lose Voice of Victory. I'm going to lose another thing on the attack. Yep. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I can't take out Flage here. I think I am going to gain 6 life. Take 2. I don't have another Surveil land, right? Yeah, I don't. Pull a Gala Shrine out of the deck. Take out Ocelot Pride, so my opponent doesn't get more tokens. That sure isn't Static Prison. At which point I think my opponent's Flage just beats me. My opponent just had a pile of removal backing up an Ocelot Pride, and that bridged them to Flage before I had any chance to like build up something with more than 3 toughness. And I don't have any sort of Path to Exile type cards to bring in here. That's not great. I don't think Leyline is good enough. Clarion Conqueror does some things, like stop Flip Ajani. I think just based on the way these cards are lining up, I just lose. Like, very sad to say that, but I just think I am going to die. I'm going to board in a couple of Wandering Emperors as removal for Flage. It's slow and inefficient, but I don't know. I don't see myself winning this. Like, I am on the play. That helps a bit in terms of the tempo. I think my opponent just has so much more removal and a much scarier end game than I do. My end game costs me life. My opponent's end game is gaining them life. All right, Guide of Souls. Gain 1. I am going to get black here, in respect of potentially needing black later on. This gets me to 3 energy immediately, so we are going to pay for this rather than do the Warden thing. This is now 4 toughness. It will live through some relevant red removal. That's 15. Goblin Bombardment. Sure. I'm going to let my opponent have that for a turn. I think I will just cast this with the intention of double Static Prison next turn. Send in with these creatures. Opponent's at 10, facing down 4 creatures. Blooded Strand? Oh, God. That's real good. The Augur will help me recover from that. Ooh, nice. Do I just +1/+1 counter, though, and just get in for 3? That might just be correct. Because that means that this doesn't die to 3 damage removal anymore. Sacred Foundry puts my opponent to 2. Ocelot Pride into Flage. My opponent is going to kill Wandering Emperor with Lightning Bolt plus throwing. That leaves me with a Darksteel Augur, though. Ocelot Pride, Ajani, double Static Prison. That all is very, very good. Put my opponent to 4. To play Static Prison. Take out that Bombardment in case things get weird. And then I think I just play out the cats. I don't think I need to remove Ocelot Pride. Save this for next turn to try to push through the final damage that I need. Urge. I've gotten a Guide of Souls. Obviously good with Ocelot Pride. So let's Static Prison the Ocelot Pride out of the way. Raven Charm. Sure. My opponent can sacrifice this to maybe kill my Ocelot Pride. Am I down with transforming? I think I am down with transforming. I think we're just going to go ahead and attack here. It's going to result in my opponent blocking and then throwing a cat token at Ajani. Oh no, they just traded. I will go Guide of Souls, and then 0 this, gain an energy. Despite how well this game has gone, like, Flage is just looming here, which is horrific, and I still might lose. So Flage gets to come down and kill my Planeswalker. Oh no, it didn't. So there's nothing under this. I can just sacrifice that. Not controlling another red permanent here means that I can't just dome my opponent. Which is not great. I'm going to make a cat. I'm going to plus on these. But Flage is turning the corner on this game. I think if my opponent has a couple of reasonable cards in hand, I'm going to lose. I just don't think I have enough removal in my deck to win this matchup. This is attacking here. I think I am willing to set myself up for a potential blowout and try to take this out. All right, it's going through. That's another Flage. Throwing it as well. And an Ajani, which my opponent can transform, and their Ajani is much better than mine because they have the Goblin Bombardment as a red permanent. So now I am effectively dead. My opponent has Bombardment plus Ajani plus Flage. And this was the end game that I was talking about. We were very close to getting over the line, but I don't think I win from here. I mean, that's a good start. But Bombardment plus Ajani plus Flage, I think it's just going to obliterate my copies of these. Because one of these is just a 1/1. So my opponent having any creature here means that I'm going to lose both. Yeah. So that's just a raw draw 2, since my opponent doesn't have anything to discard. Now my opponent zeros, kills this, throws a token at this. I am willing to concede from here. GG's. Okay. I have lands and spells, but I don't think I have a plan. I don't have things to sacrifice. I don't have enough things to make a reasonable amount of energy, unless you count Static Prison in there. I think I can do better. Oh, buddy. Yeah, this is fine. I will probably just throw back a land here. Tapped land. Okay. So, we are on a timeline. We are on a clock. Like Guide of Souls this turn. Double Ocelot Pride next turn. Alright, so my opponent gets a mana burst here. See how bad it is. Explore. Then this whole thing happens. Okay, that could have been much worse, honestly. I think I'm going to pivot what I'm doing, actually. I think I am going to now do this and Static Prison away the amulet. I am fine to use the energy here because I'm going to get a cat token at end of turn that gives me another energy to pay for Static Prison. Alright, so that is going to be a bounce land, as the bounce lands are actually intended to be used. I absolutely pay for this. Shock myself. Do a cat. Gain a thing. Make more cats. Gain more energy. And more energy. This is 3, but I have more energy coming, which means that it is fine to spend this. Put some counters on Ocelot Pride. And I have the City's Blessing, which means that I'm going to get a lot of cats, because you get everything, including the like bonus ones that you've made. And then the other one resolves, copying the bonus tokens as well. So we are at 33 life, 9 energy when that stack clears. Alright. Ooh. I'll take a Shadowy Backstreet, I guess. Off that Boseiju. Carrion Feeder doesn't actually do anything. Like, it's cool, but it doesn't do anything. We'll put that in the graveyard. Alright. Got no Magic Online alert. We've got an hour and 45 minutes for the remaining 2 rounds, which should be more than fine. Alright, so it's not a land worth 2, which is nice. I guess it is a land worth 2 if it enters untapped, because of the ability it has on entering. Alright, so opponent has got 2 Crumbling Vestiges, for a total of 4 mana for Scape Shift. I imagine this is very bad. Okay, there's a lot of triggers here. My opponent has bounced the Teleria West to hand, loaded a bunch of mana. They have 9 mana, and they transmute Teleria West for a Summoner's Pact, and they have enough to play another Primeval Titan. Oh, it's Aftermath Analyst. Sure. So they can now return all of those lands. And Mirrorpool is going to attempt to create copies of Primeval Titan. Opponent floats a bunch of mana. Make a new Primeval Titan. Mycosynth Gardens. Going to be yet another way of doing busted things. They're just going to copy the Amulet for more untaps. Alright, so they've gotten an Aftermath Analyst, transmuting a Teleria West for a new Summoner's Pact. This is terribly boring. Cultivator Colossus. Uh-huh. That's gonna go wild. But at the end of the day, my opponent literally needs to kill me this turn, right? From 33. Otherwise, I just go wide with cats. I'm gonna move this stack down here. I'm not doing anything. Alright, so they have sacked the Aftermath Analyst to bring back the lands. Do the untappy thing again. Mirrorpool makes a new Cultivator Colossus. Untap all the lands. Make another one. At some point, I guess they just give multiple of these haste and kill me. Alright, so the Analyst comes back, and that can give another one haste. I think this kills me at this stage. There's a second one with haste. We've got like 50 incoming. I don't block through that at this stage. Okay, and a couple of minutes later, this happens. That's more than enough. But my opponent can't do that again, time-wise. Damping Sphere is fine. Cathar Commando is fine. Alright, come on, Magic Online. God damn it. Cool. Yeah, so now I can't fucking sideboard properly. Great. And I guess this technically does stuff. I don't need Voice of Victory. I don't really need Orcish Bowmasters. And this is just slow. There's a submit button here somewhere. I guess I'm rebooting Magic Online for the second time today. Oh, I don't have to. It went away. This hand doesn't do anything. This hand has a Damping Sphere. This is fine. Get rid of one Carrion Feeder. Doesn't really matter which card I play out first here. Saga. Sure. I'll maybe Cathar Commando that in a minute. Go ahead and play my Damping Sphere and send on in. Saga goes up to 2. Seiju gets played as a land rather than something that answers Damping Sphere. And then they just pass the turn. Crash in for 1 with Warden. And then I'm going to upkeep, play Cathar Commando, and sacrifice it. Move that stack back. Take out Urza Saga. Opponent has an Amulet. I'm going to play a Ajani. Now, I can't play my other spell here because it will cost 2. I'm going to go 1, 2, and 3. I don't need that land. And pass the turn. We miss out on 1 point of immediate damage, but that will pay itself back quickly, hopefully. Alright, so Damping Sphere means that that is only going to tap for 1 colorless. They have another Boseiju. I will Shadowy Backstreet. I would rather find something that interacts with Amulet. Negative. I'm going to go Ocelot Pride, Carrion Feeder, tap those 3 for a +1/+1 counter. Damping Sphere is great. And hit on in. If I die somehow this turn, Pyroclasm. Cool. I at least still have a 3/4 body in play. So that's something. It's just getting a Boseiju. I'll swing in for 3. It's at 9. I will play a new Damping Sphere. Cool. I will just crash in for 3 here. One is at 6. Play this. I think we're going wide. My opponent plays a Pyroclasm. This still gets damage in anyway. Another Boseiju. Yeah. So that drains my opponent for 1. Lotus Field. My opponent is up to 6 mana. They have played through double Damping Sphere and a Stone Rain. That is a Primeval Titan. Alright. 2 Crumbling Vestige. That is Scapeshift again. Cool. or Lotus Field and Urza's Cave. This will be 6 mana again. After Math Analyst, returning all those lands. I think I'm going to walk away from the computer and come back in 6 minutes and see if I won or lost. Alright, I have put on shoes and such to go to the gym, and it seems like my opponent has presented lethal damage. We're going to block with a servo token, though. That was a miserable play experience. The time differential here is very real. I watched my opponent play Magic. I did not play much Magic. And that was through 3 different hate cards. That's rough. I don't think I would enjoy Modern if I played it a lot and it looked like that. Regardless, GG. Alrighty. My opening hand is fine. I think that's all that I can give it. I can make a lot of bodies, and if my Warden is good, then we've got a game plan. And if my Warden's not good, well, we don't have a game plan. And it very quickly keeps their card on top. Ooh, that's not bad. I control the planes. So let's move that stack back up here and make that bigger now that we're not dealing with 37,000 lands. And do this. I don't need more land. Foothills and Wall of Roots. Some sort of Yawgmoth nonsense going on over there. Okay. Bowmaster might be able to kill something. I'm always doing this. Excuse me. One of the farmers in my area just like reaped their field or whatever, and there's all sorts of grass pollen or something in the air, and it is wrecking me. I think, despite the fact that Bowmaster might be a removal spell, I am just going to do this for the Scry. Send that at face. Activate this with the 3 creatures that can't attack. Send that away. I think I'm going to do it one more time instead of attacking. That is a medium power level card. I think I'm going to get rid of it. Like, for example, finding another Marionette Apprentice and just using it to bleed my opponent out. Sounds really good. And now this has Flying and Vigilance. That's fine. The Court of Calling cards are starting to look good. I think this is the first time we've gotten this up to Flying and Vigilance, by the way. Sylvan Safekeeper. And we're chilling. Another Warden. I'm going to ignore that, I think. We are just going to make some babies. And then I'm fine sending in with everyone, I think. Maybe I don't want to send in with the Marionette Apprentice. They don't want that to randomly die in combat. There's some Court of Calling nonsense and then not be able to drain my opponent out afterwards. Without taking the time to math everything out, this seems approximately correct. Fatal Push where? Fatal Push here. And that means I sacrifice that. Let's just always yield to that. Let's just always yield to this. Sure. This has 3 toughness. I'm kind of interested in killing that. I think I am going to sack one of these. I don't really need the extra card. Sure. And we'll pass. I have 1 extra card coming. Is this it or another? No, it's another. I have a drain 5 available. Samwise. Oh, make foods when stuff enters. Sure. Food contributes to Goose doing cool stuff. My opponent's got 1 card left. I'm going to get a bonus card from the Augur. Ooh. Going to 9. This is not a card draw, right? Yeah. So it's going to target, what, my Bowmaster? Yeah, so I then sack my Bowmaster, so my opponent does not get their Orc. Guide of Souls, Voice of Victory. Do I always get... No, I don't always get 2 in the air. So this attack is fine, this attack is fine. Guide of Souls. Let's Voice of Victory, so there's no nonsense. Next turn, gain my energy. Send in with the flyer, send in with the big one. That's fine. Opponent is just going to absorb the damage. Sacking with their Seer. And sacking again. So I don't have lethal here by sacking out. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. I can't play a third white spell this turn. I only have 2 white sources. And that is enough for a quick victory for us. This deck is scary. I don't play against it enough to know all of the lines. I assume this is just batshit insane here. And then I don't play enough to know whether or not I need Leyline of the Void for some of the combo lines, or whether it's better to just, like, keep on my pile of things that can actually kill my opponent. Feels kind of like I just go down some number of Voice of Victories. They're not all that great at pushing damage, or some number of Ajanis. So there's, like, the Young Wolf combo, there's Agatha's Soul Cauldron, and what, like, Dredger's Insight? Is that enough that I just play Leylines? Do I just outfare my opponent in a lot of cases, and eventually drain them out? Probably. I wonder if I just do something that looks like this when I'm on the draw, and maybe when I'm on the play I'd be a little more aggressive and don't Leyline. This is a 1-lander. I don't think this is good enough. I'm rewarded with a no-lander, and then a respectable 5-card hand. Carrion Feeder, I think, always goes here, despite the fact that I could Carrion Feeder into Ajani. I think I just want to keep 3 lands and always play Clarion Conqueror on turn 3. I could roll the dice and, like, maybe miss a land drop, but I have 3 draws for the 3rd land. I don't know, is Carrion Feeder into Ajani better than Warden into Ajani? Depends on what creatures my opponent plays. Let's try it. I think it's more likely that I need multiple white sources. The Goose Slot Pride is cool. I think I'm still trying to do Carrion Feeder crimes. The whole, like, Carrion Feeder Ajani thing is, like, definitely awkward with Clarion Conqueror coming. Oh, my opponent does not have very many cards. I guess... Oh, they mulligan to 5. So we are both starting at a bit of a disadvantage in that regard. Did not hit my land drop for Clarion Conqueror yet, by the way. So we make a friend. I'm going to sacrifice that Cat Warrior, flip the Planeswalker, get my +1/+1 counter, 0, make a new cat, send in 4/2. Opponent's at 18. 3rd land drop from the opponent, and we'll see if they have something cool to do. 15. There's Samwise, and then passing the turn. I have missed the 3rd land drop for Clarion Conqueror, which feels like a really big deal. So I'm going to 0 this, and I think at this point I just send in with both of these for 4-ish damage. If my opponent is about to do something like Court of Calling, I might want to force some action on this Sylvan Safekeeper immediately. You can sack a land if you want. I am fine with this being a 2-mana flash land destruction spell. Okay. 2-mana flash land destruction spell is fine. This means that I'm not getting an orc, but I'm, like, good with that, I think. Oh, it's just a surveil land. Junking another land. It's going to take all of that. I've already activated this. Yes. So I will pass the turn. We've got a Seer. Gives my opponent a food. They've got 1 card left facing down a pretty scary board. They're not really in a position to attack into this Planeswalker. Ooh. Yep, you've got it. Clarion Conqueror time. Land. Nice. I will just grab a swamp here. I don't need to do this pre-combat, right? I don't think I have a reason to do this pre-combat. Send it. My opponent has some decisions here regarding if or how they want to deal with Carrion Feeder. I'm fine with that trade. Opponent goes to 6. I am fine with Carrion Feeder being a 2/2 to leave, like, both of these in play. And we're slamming the dragon. The dragon is just a 2-turn clock in the air by itself, not counting Gilded Goose blocking. We have gotten the yikes on that one, Chief, from our opponent. Yup. No, that's rough for them. This was a reasonable game of Magic, despite the fact that we both mulliganed pretty deeply. I think we both started this one on 5. My aggressive start was better than their sort of synergistic pile of creatures. They just didn't get to a payoff card like a Yawgmoth or a Collected Company or a Court of Calling or anything like that. GG's. Yeah, opponent says, like, there's just nothing I can do there. All right. So, overall thoughts on the deck list. Honestly, pretty good. Minus the round versus the amulet deck, where most of what I did just did not matter. This felt like a reasonable pile of Magic the Gathering cards that had good synergy together. I am borderline on this card. Like, this does have very good synergy with all of these creatures that just make 2 bodies on turn 2 to immediately start scaling up. But this card is not very threatening until, like, maybe turn 3 or 4, despite the fact that it's a 1-drop, which kind of puts it in a weird place. I'm not sure whether or not the juice is worth the squeeze here. If the flying matters, because the board is getting stalled out, this card matters a lot. And it's not like I was just putting this card on the chopping block every single round. I would want more games to figure out how I feel about this. Carrion Feeder into immediate Ajani is definitely cool. That is something one of my Discord regulars likes doing, and like Carrion Feeder and Cabal Therapy can really allow you to maximize what this card is capable of. But in the Boros Energy round, we definitely felt the gap in power level between this card in a deck that has red and this card in a deck that doesn't. Overall, I like what's going on here. I wonder if some of the ratios of cards should be different. So, for example, is 4x Static Prison enough as far as real removal goes? Or does this deck want some more targeted spot removal? I don't know. I don't play that much Modern. You see all the Modern that I play on this channel. So I don't know for sure. That's something that stands out to me. The bat was really cool. I liked this bat a lot. I think this is something that I should maybe explore in Legacy sometimes in Dark Ritual decks. Like, it is a Bob that doesn't get Bowmastered and can be a second set of bodies later. Like, if you play this alongside a Goyf and you just have a giant lifelinker that offsets the life loss that you are getting from this, this feels real. I wonder if one of my EDH decks wants this as a side thought. If it does, I'll be ordering it from TOAmagic.com using my own promo code ThrabenU to save myself a little bit on my order while supporting myself. It's just winning. Alright, with that, folks, I hope you all have a wonderful rest of the day, and I'm going to go to the gym and use the sauna there and hopefully feel a little bit better. Alright, see ya.